So, okay. So, good afternoon to all the students. Am I audible? Dipjyoti, am I audible? Dipjyoti, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay. So, we have discussed section first syllabus, section 1 syllabus. Now, basically, the second section is with respect to the control system, or we can say the running system. So, first unit in the second section, that is related to the steering system. So, steering is required to negotiate turn, to run the vehicle straight ahead on the road and as per the desired direction. So that's why it comes under the steering control system category. So there we are going to see functions of steering, steering system layout, how various components of the steering system are provided, then automotive steering mechanism. So again there are two types of mechanism. One is Ackermann's and second one is Davis steering mechanism. Then in case of the steering system, so whatever rotary motion of the steering wheel, so steering is placed in the driver's cabin, thereby we are steering front wheels or we are turning front wheels either in left or right direction. So controlling place is at one end and that is useful to negotiate stern or to control the vehicle. That means we are going to steer the wheel, that means we are rotating the wheel, but at the front side we are going to get the turning in left or right direction. So to convert that rotary motion at first into the to and fro motion and then turning either right or left, there is steering gearbox. So that will convert rotary motion into the to and fro motion of the drag link. So those are the components. Then we are going to see condition for true rolling and afterwards steering geometry, which includes camber angle, caster angle, kingpin inclination, included angle, toe in and toe out. These are the terms related to the front wheel. And then the wheel alignment. Then the wheel alignment. And what is the slip angle? Then understeer, oversteer. So the meaning, the word itself is self-explanatory. Understeer means we are turning for more, but we are not going to get the exact desired direction. And oversteer means we are desiring in one particular direction, but we are getting more steering in that direction. Then types of and working of power steering. So there is one concept by means of which we can provide some help to the driver, by means of which we can have very less effort for steering to have more steering. So for example, you can take two types of vehicle. One is four wheeler and one is six wheeler, or we can consider a truck or a bus. So you might have observed the steering wheel or the steering for the four wheeler, it is small in the diameter, and for the truck it is bigger in the diameter. So there is one concept that is called as the steering ratio. So how much effort is required to steer bigger vehicle and how much effort is required to steer the small cars or small vehicles. So for bigger vehicle nowadays there is power steering option by means of which we can reduce the fatigue of the driver. So that we are going to see in the steering system. The next unit, it is related to the braking system. It is also one of the control system, or we can call it as a running system. When brakes are required, whenever vehicle is in motion, to stop the vehicle, brake is required. To control the motion of the vehicle, brake is required. So there are different types of braking mechanism. So internal expanding and disc brake mechanism. So whatever for the bikes, disc brakes are provided on both the wheels, front as well as rear, or some of the bike only at the front disc brakes are provided. Similar is the case for the four wheeler. So disc brakes are provided at the front, and at the rear wheels there are drum brakes. So again, based on which type of actuation mechanism is used, so that will display different system. One is called as a mechanical, one is called as hydraulic, one is called as a air brake system. So mechanical, that means whatever brake applied to stop the cycle, that bicycle, that is purely mechanical brake, only linkages are there. Wherein wherever we are using some oil or that principles of hydraulics, and that brake comes under hydraulic brakes. So wherever that actuation mechanism is via air volume, then it becomes air brake system. So for trucks, air brake system, and that efficient working is based on the actuation mechanism. So again, there are some of the power brakes, and this term, that is the anti-lock braking, that is the brake which controls vehicle, or which maintain the track of the vehicle. Otherwise, if anti-lock braking system is not there, and if suddenly some obstacle is coming in front of the vehicle, we are going to have hard brake, and because of that skidding is going to be takes place. So instead of that, if a vehicle is having anti-lock braking system, so there are speed sensor. Those speed sensor are are avoiding the wheels to have sudden brake, sudden stopping the rotation. So that can be avoided, so with the help of the sensor. So partly running, partly stopping, partly running, partly stopping. So just by stopping, releasing, that depends upon the sensor and that control unit which is provided for this ABS. In short, it is called as a anti-lock braking system. Then what is brake force required to stop the vehicle in minimum distance? So for that, we are going to see examples wherein we are going to calculate the braking force required, how much force is required. So at a high speed, there is large braking force is required. Sometimes highly loaded vehicle, large braking force is required. So you might have seen the tractors which are used for weighing the sugar cane. So around 20 to 30 ton load is there, and sometimes you might have observed that driver is driving more to stop the tractor just by standing on that brake pedal. You might have seen some tractors which are being moving from our college gate, from in front of our college gate. Then stopping distance. So that such examples we are going to see with respect to the stopping distance also, and some of the examples related to the dynamic weight transfer. So once we apply the brake, how load is transferred from rear, whatever load on the rear wheel, and because of application of the brake, that load is transferred on the front wheel, and that those such numericals we are going to see in this last part of the braking system. Then another one running system which is used to provide comfort to the passenger, and that system we are going to call it as a suspension system. So the system which isolate whatever shocks being experienced by the wheel, those are isolated with the help of suspension system. Suspension system means the wheels are suspended with the help of suspension system, and remaining part is modern trend in automobiles. So whatever modern trends in the automobile that you might have familiar with such modern trends. So based on the version, somebody is providing space for some of the another additional facilities, and that they are providing some different names. So those are the modern trends. Then in the suspension, first we are going to see the suspension required, then what is sprung mass, unsprung mass, then various types of springs, reaction members, radius rod, stabilizer bar, then air suspension system. Some student might have seen that air suspension system is provided on the buses. So to get the more comfort, such systems are useful. Then some of the engine electronic control module, then introduction to the sensors and actuators used in the automobile controls, electronic control units, traction control devices, fuel cell hybrid vehicles, electrical vehicles, and solar vehicles. Right? So some of the vehicles, they are having cruise control. That means if we are going to set that vehicle that can be reached up to 80 kilometers per hour, or that speed we can reach, that is 80 kilometers. So per hour. So beyond that we cannot have the speed. So that is called as the cruise control. So for some of the vehicles which are used or which are having name as a tour vehicles, for that the limiting speed is 80 kilometers per hour. Beyond that we are not going to have the more speed. So such cruise controls are some of the automatic vehicles. We can set 100 kilometers per hour, 120 kilometers per hour. So that depends upon the driver. So how we want to reach up to particular destiny, at what time and at what distance we have to cover. So based on that, we are going to utilize that cruise control facility in the vehicle. Then with respect to the internal continuous assessment, so we are having 8 to 10 experiments related or in line with the chapters, in line with the units. So first one is study and demonstration of four-wheeler chassis layout, in that two-wheel and four-wheel drive. So this is study type. Then second one, study and demonstration of working of single plate automobile clutch. So what is single plate automobile clutch? It's the construction and how clutch operation or principle of working of the clutch, that we are going to see. then study and demonstration of synchronous gearbox, final drive, and differential. Then study and demonstration of working hydraulic braking system. So that we are going to see in the fourth experiment. Afterwards, front wheel steering geometry, what are the characteristics and various angles and the steering mechanism. Then we are going to see the suspension system for the four wheeler, which components are used, shock absorber, springs, and any other additional components. Then demonstration of battery electric battery and electrical starting system that we are going to see. Then some of the components such as electric horns, electric fuel gauge, flasher unit, wiper circuit that we are going to study in at the experiment, and experiment on wheel balancing and front wheel alignment that will be at ninth number. And at last, visit to servicing station for study of vehicle maintenance, repair and report. So during last practical, we are going to see the servicing station, not just washing, how that maintenance is going on, that we are going to see in actual if possible. And these are the some of the textbooks you can refer: Kirpal Singh, Automobile Engineering, then Automobile Mechanics, N.K. Giri, then Automobile Electric Equipment, P.S. Kohli. So some part it is provided in some of the uh, special books, such as this is domain specific automobile electric equipment, and these are the reference books. So this third reference book, William H. Cruz, Automotive Mechanics, it is good those who want to read, and if possible, if PDF copy is available, that e-copy is available, then I will send that copy to all of you. So this is about the syllabus. Okay. Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay. Okay. Screen is visible. Okay. So first unit, now we are going to start the first unit. So unit number 1, Introduction to Automobiles. The syllabus for the same. So broad classification of automobiles, then major components and their functions, then types of vehicle layout. In that we are going to check front wheel, front engine, rear wheel drive, front engine, front wheel drive, rear engine, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive. Now we are not knowing whether examination will be on descriptive basis or MCQ basis. So here itself you should remember that there are different types of vehicle layout. So front engine rear wheel drive, it is also called as conventional type of layout. Conventional. So engine is placed at the front side and drive is given to the rear wheels. So that's why it is called as a conventional vehicle layout. So previously we have seen ambassador car, that premium Padmini car. So those are the older models where wherein the engine was placed at the front side and drive is given to the rear wheel. And nowadays, whatever cars running on the road, they are having both the types of layouts. So front engine, front wheel drive. So all Indian cars. So generally this front engine, front wheel drive. The engine is placed at the front side and drive is given to the front wheels. Then rear engine, rear wheel drive. So engine is placed at the rear on the rear wheels and drive is given to the same, and afterwards all wheel drive. Then specification of the vehicles. So for example, the different example I will give. So you might have seen the tractors on which there is 475, sometimes 59111. So models they are specifying. So for HMT tractor, so you might have seen 5911. What it indicates? That indicates what how much HP that engine is going to be delivered. So that 59 up to 58, around 59 HP engine is able to deliver, so that we will have some additional torque to perform the tasks. So sometimes in case of the Mahindra tractors, you might have seen that 475. Then for Arjun 65, Passat 22 or 6522. What it indicates? That is the series, and they have specified that that tractor is made for doing work around 65 HP. So that much engine is able to deliver that much power. Then types of bodies. So bus body, tanker, jeep, that van, ambulance, then body construction and material, and finally the safety devices. Okay. Now first we'll start with this broad classification. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So broad classification that we are going to see. So automobiles or simply vehicles can be classified based on different basis. So on the basis of load. So intentionally I am not showing the pictures. Now you are in final year of BTech. As a mechanical engineer, you should know. So you can imagine, or instead of imagine, you might have you are we are being observing such vehicles on the road. So on the basis of load, so what is the first classification? HTV or HMV, right? Heavy transport vehicles. Heavy transport vehicles. And such simple questions may be asked during your campus interview. What is HTV? And if as a mechanical engineer you are not able to tell simple answer to such short forms, then it is very different situation for us. So heavy transport vehicle, or here heavy motor vehicle. What is example for that? Trucks, buses, etc. Then second type on the basis of load, that is light transport vehicles. Light transport vehicle. This is pickup. So that Mahindra pickup. Sometimes that name itself we are able to identify what is pickup. Then station wagon. So station wagon, we can transport some of the people, some of the persons, as well as luggage. So that's why it comes under this light transport vehicle. And light motor vehicle, under that category, there are cars and jeeps. The vehicles which are used privately or sometimes in sometimes to transport the passengers from one place to another, those comes under light motor vehicles. Now, in line with this, I would like to tell one example. So you might have seen that RTI, road traffic inspector, and sometimes we are having some different understanding. So we are going to call it as a RTO, but you should remember or you should know that RTO means regional transport officer, that is class 1 post, and RTI, road traffic inspector. So one can give or one can appear for such examination for RTI, that road traffic inspector, after completion of mechanical engineering diploma or after completion of automobile engineering diploma. Similar is the case for the batch BTech course, BTech in automobile and BTech in mechanical. So you can appear for those examination, and after promotion, at last you can get that regional transport officer. So whatever learning, so for that you should have this light motor vehicle license. Why it is required? Because you are going to check the vehicles sometimes on the road, whether that person is having license or not. So for that, you should have that light motor vehicle license in addition, and for this heavy transport vehicle. So this can be done afterwards also, after joining that duty of road traffic inspector. Okay. So this classification is based on the load: heavy transport HTV, LTV, and LMV. Right. Then based on the wheels. So first type, two-wheeler vehicles, scooters, motorcycles, scooty, etc. So there is no bicycle in this. Otherwise, some student may tell bicycle, two-wheeler. So this is about vehicle. This is about automobile, which is self-propelled. We are just accelerating by rotating the accelerator, which is placed at the right side. So you should know the terminology, which is brake lever, which is brake pedal, which is gear lever, as a mechanical engineer. So you should know each of these components in the vehicles, or you should aspire for those terminology. Then based with respect to the three-wheeler, auto rickshaw, three-wheeler scooter for handicaps, and small tempos. And in Marathi, you know that tum-tum, right? So that is the example of three-wheeler. Sometimes we are coming through that tum-tum or those small rickshaws to the college. Okay. Then four-wheeler vehicles, under that car, jeep, trucks, buses, etc. So car, jeep, and trucks. This is about small trucks, not bigger trucks. So tempos under this category, and small buses, etc. Then under the six wheeler vehicle, for example, big trucks with two gear axles, each having four wheels, right? So you might have seen that 10-wheeler vehicle. So rear two axles are powered. That means they are facilitated with the power, and that can rotate those wheels, and the traction or the tractive effort is provided to the front wheels, and vehicle is moving. So based on the wheels, two wheeler, three wheeler, four wheeler, and the six wheeler. Then next classification is on the basis of which type of fuel is used. So petrol vehicles, in that motorcycles, scooters, car, etc. Then diesel vehicles, you know, trucks, buses, and cars as well. But nowadays that that thing is become obsoleting, and some of the car manufacturers are manufacturing their cars along with the petrol version only. Then electrical vehicle. So battery and the motor. So battery as a source of energy, and the motor is used to propel the vehicle. Then steam vehicle, an engine which uses steam engine, and nowadays such vehicles are not there. Then gas vehicles, you know, that LPG, liquid petroleum gas, then compressed natural gas vehicles, right? So for the auto rickshaw, that LPG used, but with respect to the safety, that is not good. So that's why one more innovation happens, that is with respect to the CNG, and that is being used nowadays commonly, and with the help of CNG we can have better economy with the mileage. Okay, then based on the body, how that structure above the chassis is provided, there are there are different types. One is called as a sedan with two doors. Only two doors are there, but car is long enough to give the feel of sedan car. Sedan with four doors. So whatever that Honda Amaze, that is sedan with four door. Then hatchback door. So that is another class. You can take example of Swift, Maruti Swift, Indica, then from the Tata, that is Altroz, that is again the hatchback car. Then station wagon, so some space is provided for the passenger and some space is provided for the luggage. Then convertible, so for example Jeep, so we can unfold the roof, or just we can replace with another roof. So such types of vehicles based on the body. Then van and special purpose vehicles, so such as ambulance, milk van, etc. And one more is remaining, that is sport utility vehicles, SUV. So under that category you can have different versions such as Brezza. Then from the Tata there are different models. Again from Hyundai there is Creta, that is one of the example of SUV. So whatever the seating arrangement and the control and the ground clearance given, so sport utility vehicle, that means With that vehicle, we can travel anywhere on every type of road with less obstacles. So, such types are there on the basis of the body structure, how body is provided. Then, another classification is made on the basis of transmission. So, conventional vehicle with manual transmission, car with 5 gears. So, manual means we need to engage the gear. So, that is conventional vehicles. And those models which can be purchased by spending more cost, those comes under premium category. So, there is automatic selection of the drive, so either forward or reverse or the stationary. Then this second one is semi-automatic and third one is automatic. So semi-automatic means partially automatic. Now conventional vehicles along with fluid coupling, along with torque converter, that will make it semi-automatic. And what is automatic? In case of automatic transmission, gears are not required to be changed manually. It is automatically changes as per the speed of the automobile. So only speed is the aspect, and based on that, whatever required torque, that can be provided automatically just by using the sensors. Then based on the position of the engine, so there are different types engine in the front. So most of the vehicle have engine in the front. Example, most of cars, buses and trucks in India, and engine at the sorry, in India they are having engine in the front. So have you understood a classification? Am I audible? Okay, thank you. Okay. Any question with respect to the classification? So again, the classification you can see in various books, there is some change. So one or two types are different. So based on that author, it may change. So like that internal combustion engine and external combustion engine, that is the basic one. And in internal combustion engine, there are two stroke, four stroke, again two stroke SI engine, four stroke SI engine. Like that, difference is there with respect to the classification. Okay. Then now we are going to see parts of automobiles. So some of the important parts are shown, and caption to each of the part is given. Now we can start from this side. So our concern is about the four wheeler, so that's why whatever possible we will discuss only about the four wheeler. So this is the wheel, this one is the wheel. So these are the front wheels, and this, just I'm moving the cursor, this is nothing but the front axle. This is the front axle. So steering is provided to this front axle. So these wheels are going to negotiate the turn, and these wheels have to follow that turn, whatever taken by the front wheels. So on the front axle, wheels are mounted. Along with those wheels, there is steering mechanism that we are going to see in detail. This one is the steering. This is the steering. This is steering gearbox, where this rotary motion is get converted into oscillatory motion or to and fro motion of this arm, and we can have motion in arc for this vertical spindle. So this is about wheels and axle at the front. Then whatever names given, that we are going to discuss in detail. So first important or major part of the automobile is nothing but the engine. Is nothing but the engine. It may be CI or SI, spark ignition or compressed fuel. So that compressed ignition. So basically these circles indicating it is 4-cylinder engine, and this is required to provide or to generate the power, and that's why we are going to call it as a prime mover. Prime mover. A prime mover is nothing but a source of energy on a vehicle. Now in case of electric vehicle, which one is a prime mover? There is prime mover in the form of battery. In the form of battery. So whatever that charged battery, that is nothing but the prime mover, and with the help of that charged battery we are going to run the motors, and those motors are connected via various linkages to the wheels, and because of that wheels are going to rotate and vehicle is able to move some distance or desired distance. So this is a major component. Okay. Then second part in on the chassis, that is clutch, and you can see that this one is flywheel. Just I will indicate. This is flywheel, and this one is clutch, right? So basically this arrangement is required to connect or disconnect. So this whole section indicates transmission system. Now as per requirement, we need to have one device which can disconnect engine power to the rest of the transmission system. So for that clutch is required. So to connect or disconnect, a coupling is required, and that coupling is nothing but the clutch. So coupling required to connect or disconnect. So this component is used. Then to fulfill the requirement of providing the torque, for that there is gearbox. There is gearbox. So there various gears are provided, and that are used to provide the different torque requirement. Then Next component is universal joint. Here it is universal joint. So this joint is like this. This one is one yoke. Here it is another yoke, and it is like this. So that structure I will show in detail during the transmission system. Then this is propeller shaft. This one is the propeller shaft. So just you can see here, this is, and here it is wheel, and this is the propeller shaft, right? This one is the propeller shaft. So you should remember that this angle is around 30 degree. लक्षात ठेवा, please remember this, not more than that. So this propeller shaft is used to connect engine and the differential. So this part is differential unit, or this is the final drive. So power is produced at the flywheel, and that is being supplied to the wheels at the rear. So to connect that, propeller shaft is used. Propeller shaft is used. Understood? समझ लगा? Am I audible? Okay. Then after the propeller shaft, there is this we have seen. After that, final drive. So this arrangement. So you can have which this is required to transfer power at 90 degree. So this is the flow, and we want to rotate wheels on the rear axle, this one and this one. So to get this diversion, we required a pair of bevel gear, a pair of bevel gear, and that pair of bevel gear, this one is pinion and this one is crown. With the help of this pair, we can have diversion of power at 90 degree. So final drive is required to divert the power at 90 degree. And another one part which is not shown here, so you can just assume this box is nothing but the differential. So this differential is required to differentiate the speed. So on the curvature, so speed requirement for the inner wheel and outer wheel, that is different, or the distance which these wheels have to cover are also different. One wheel has to cover less distance as compared to the other. Inner wheel has to cover less distance as compared to the outer wheel. So we need to facilitate such function in the automobile. For that reason, we are going to use the epicyclic gear train, and that is used for this differential, unit. And this one is the rear wheels. Okay. So this is about some of the major parts of the automobile. Then this is another figure which is available, but this is with respect to the four-wheel drive. So you can check here. So propeller shaft, some power is given to this. Again, this is chassis with respect to a truck, engine, then gearbox, propeller shaft, differential, and four wheels. So this is only for your information. So this part is known as chassis frame. Here it is written frame. So chassis doesn't mean only framework. Chassis is equal to vehicle, only absence of body. A vehicle without body, that is nothing but the chassis. So chassis is able to propel on its own. On its own means we have provided engine as a prime mover and transmission system to have that propulsion in forward and reverse direction. So should I stop? Okay. Now just I am stopping. This is for today. I request all the students they can put their own roll number in chat box. Thank you.